After Ayo's new church grew and members overflowed every Sunday, the other pastors became suspicious of Ayo. It wasn't like they weren't happy about their new growth. They were. It was just that they could not understand how Ayo stopped praying completely, didn't fast or study the Bible with them anymore, yet he performed mind-blowing miracles every Sunday. Not only that, but his fame and popularity grew so much that when other pastors from other countries heard about him, they began coming to Ayo for mentorship. After deliberating for a long time, the other pastors decided to book an appointment with Ayo. Ayo had gotten so busy that if his pastors or parents needed to see him, they would have to book an appointment with him first. "Good evening, Pastor Ayo." One of the pastors greeted Ayo as soon as they entered his office. "Ah, my people! How are you guys? That reminds me, what happened? I didn't see both of you in church last Sunday." Ayo asked excitedly. "Nothing at all." The other pastors answered in unison. "We came here to discuss something very important with you." One of the pastors said, "Oh, I'm all ears." "What's the matter?" Ayo asked. Before the other pastors answered him, they gave each other a short stare and turned back in Ayo's direction. "It's about you and the church, Ayo," one of the pastors said. "What about me and the church?" Ayo asked in a confused tone. "We can see that God has been using you mightily to bless His people and even grow His church. But, Ayo, The pastor paused and exhaled deeply. "What is it?" Ayo asked. "People are saying things that should not be said about someone like you. I remember when you came to us about the fellowship. You were literally on fire for God. You used to pray for at least 6 hours a day. And we saw the impact of those prayers in the fellowship." The pastor said, "What exactly are you driving at?" Ayo asked impatiently. Ayo, what he is trying to say is that we don't know if you are still on fire for God like you used to be." The second pastor said. Immediately after the second pastor said that, Ayo burst into a loud laugh. Are you guys serious? If I'm no longer on fire for God, then how would I achieve all of this? Who is responsible for all this growth and miracles if it's not God Himself? Ayo asked. He expected the other pastors to say something or either apologize, but they didn't say a word. "Just because I no longer pray with you guys does not mean I don't pray anymore. Every Sunday, before I step on that pulpit, I pray from 5 a.m. until it's time for me to leave for church." Ayo lied. "Honestly, I'm surprised, guys. Even if people would say negative things about me, wouldn't you vouch for me? You guys know me very well, and we started the fellowship together." Ayo said in a disappointed tone. "We know you, Ayo. That's why we are here. We just wanted to confirm that you are still on the right path. You know, with this sudden wealth, fame and responsibilities, it's easy for you to get distracted, and distraction is the last thing you want in your walk with God," one of the pastors said. As soon as he said that, Ayo's secretary knocked on the office door. Then she walked in to announce that Ayo had another visitor waiting for him, and then she excused herself. "Thank you, my brothers. I am happy you are looking out for me, but you have nothing to worry about. I am on the right path, and trust me, I will not be leaving this path anytime soon," Ayo said. "Okay, we heard that you have another visitor. We will take our leave now," one of the pastors said. "Please wait. Let me give you some money for the road." Ayo tried to persuade them. "Pastor Ayo, we are not strangers. Do not worry about that. one of the pastors said before they walked out of Ayo's office. As the other pastors walked out of Ayo's office, a woman in her early 20s entered. She was one of the women marked by BC's coven. "Ah! Sister Maria! It's great to see you!" Ayo greeted the lady. "Thank you, Pastor. I'm grateful for your time," the lady said. "So you are here for the special deliverance, right? You said you've been having a spiritual attack from your spirit husband?" Ayo asked. "Yes, Pastor. I'm tired. I need help, please," the lady said. "You remember what we discussed over the phone? This will be a special deliverance. Are you ready and willing to do it?" Ayo asked. "Yes, Pastor Ayo. I'm ready to do anything, as long as you can help me," the lady said in a teary voice. "That's the spirit. I have booked the hotel we will be using. Let's go there," Ayo said as he led the lady out of his office. Every day, different women would flock in and out of Ayo's office, and he would take them to a hotel to sleep with them. BC and her coven made the job very easy for Ayo. Every time BC's coven marked a woman, they would afflict her with a problem. So once Ayo prophesied to the woman, she would be forced to go to him for a solution. Ayo didn't only sleep with single women. He slept with married women and even pregnant women. Once BC's coven spotted a woman with a bright star or multiple stars, they would mark the lady so Ayo could sleep with her and in turn, transfer the woman's glory to their coven. As for these women, their lives would suddenly spiral down once Ayo slept with them. And in the long run, they would stop showing up at his church. About a year after Ayo's church expanded, his father called him to return home, and Ayo obeyed this time. This wasn't the first time Ayo's father had asked Ayo to come home after Ayo expanded the church. In the past, Ayo's father had tried to see Ayo multiple times, but Ayo deliberately refused to visit his father, and he would claim that he was very busy with serving the people. His father only saw him when the local TV stations carried the news of Ayo's explosive miracles. "Ayo, my son," Ayo's father called him. "Yes, Papa," Ayo answered. "What has been happening with you?" Ayo's father asked. "Ah, Papa, there's nothing bad, oh. The Lord has been good to me," Ayo proudly replied. "I know. I have been seeing that on TV." Ayo's father said, Ayo, there is something that has been bothering me and your mother for a while now." Ayo's father said, "I know, Papa, and I'm sorry. I know I have been distant from both of you, and I apologize. It's just that I didn't know that doing the Lord's work would take so much of my time that I barely have time for myself and my family." Ayo said, "Ayo, that's not even the problem. I called you here because your mother and I are worried about you." Ayo's father said, "I don't understand. Worried about me in what way?" Ayo asked in a confused tone. "Your walk with God, Ayo. For months now, your mother and I have been having strange repeated dreams, and we've been forced to believe that you have deviated from the path of God." Ayo's father said, "Ayo, have you deviated from the path of God? See, my son, don't be deceived. Satan is a trickster, and if he gives 10 things to you, he will get 1,000 from you." He added, "Papa, if I have deviated from God's path, how will I achieve what I have achieved?" Ayo asked. "That's another problem. I'm not saying God doesn't bless his servants, but your sudden wealth and fame are questionable. I have been in the ministry before you were born and have seen these patterns repeat itself. Men of God suddenly become famous and wealthy, and before you know it, They disappear like they never existed. Ayo's father said, "Papa, my hands are clean. I don't know what you are trying to insinuate, but my hands are clean." Ayo lied. "Ayo, if there's something you need to tell me, you can talk to me. I am your father," Ayo's father said in a concerned tone. "All is well, Papa. Everything is okay. If you have nothing else to say, I'd love to leave now. There are some people I need to do urgent deliverance for this evening." Ayo said, "That's all. I thought you would wait for your mother to make us dinner." Ayo's father said, "Oh, no, Papa. Maybe some other time," Ayo said before he took his leave. Even though Ayo did his best to convince his father that he was still on God's path, his father could tell he was hiding something. "For your sake, I hope you have not done what you shouldn't do," Ayo's father soliloquized after Ayo left. As time passed, Ayo's church continued to grow to the extent that sick people from around the world began to go to his church for miracles, healing, and deliverance. But the problem was, the bigger Ayo's church grew, the further he was from God. Ayo no longer prayed because he could perform miracles without the power of God. In a month, Ayo would sleep with at least 70 women under the guise of deliverance. Also, since Ayo's father complained the last time he visited home, Ayo stopped seeing or visiting his parents completely. He spent most of his time traveling to different countries to honor their invitations. He bought big and luxurious houses in Lagos, and he lived a great life. It was almost like Bisi and her coven had provided everything Ayo wanted, as long as he held on to his side of the agreement. Like everyone who made a deal with the devil, Ayo believed he would last in the demonic covenant with Bisi, but things did not turn out exactly as he had planned. Months down the line, Ayo began to feel his disconnection with God. It was almost like a mask had been taken off his face. "I have everything I want, but deep down, I am not satisfied. This was not who God called me to be." Ayo soliloquized one day while he was in his house. Even though Ayo had become wealthy and famous, he still felt an emptiness inside of him, and each day, the emptiness and disconnection were eating him deeply. "Ah! Ayo! Where did you lose it? Look at who you have become today. I know what to do. I will tell Bisi I am no longer interested." Ayo added, "You dare not do that!" Bisi appeared immediately in Ayo's living room, where Ayo was sitting by himself. Unknown to Ayo, the coven monitored all his moves and listened to his conversations and even his thoughts. "Do what, Bisi? I entered into this deal, and I think I can say that I'm no longer interested," Ayo said in an authoritative tone. Immediately after Ayo said that, Bisi burst into very loud and disturbing laughter. "If I were you, I wouldn't tread that path. We had an agreement, and you will not stop serving us until you die!" Bisi thundered. "I rebuke you in the blood of Jesus!" Ayo barked. "Oh, please, save your strength. You should be ashamed to even mention that name," Bisi said. "Get out of my house, you daughter of Satan!" Ayo said with the expectation that Bisi would leave. "Look here. It's been more than a week since you slept with the women we marked for you, and we give you 3 days. If you do not do as you had agreed, then you will not like what will happen," Bisi said in an angry tone. "There's nothing you can do, Bisi. I am no longer interested, and that is it. I have realized that I made a grave mistake," Ayo said. "Don't say I didn't warn you," Bisi said before she disappeared. After Ayo had that confrontation with Bisi, he still refused to sleep with more women And this angered Bisi and the coven, so they decided to teach him a lesson. The following Sunday, Ayo's church was full of people and everyone expected mighty miracles to happen as usual. But on that day, something scandalous happened. All the women whom Ayo had slept with in the past suddenly showed up in his church and they created a scene. The strangest thing was that some of these women had not attended Ayo's church in months and Ayo had not seen them in a long while. That day, the news about Ayo's manipulative deliverance spread like wildfire and almost all the news stations covered the scandal. Not only that, but all the people who had helped Ayo in the past suddenly turned cold, and those who had given him houses, cars and other things turned against him, and they retrieved all of their properties. It was almost like magic to Ayo because everything happened in a day. It even seemed like people had been waiting for the scandal to happen. Sadly, the news of Ayo's scandal reached Ayo's parents, and when they watched the incident on TV, they were so disappointed in Ayo. Even though all of these terrible things had happened, Ayo didn't tell anyone that he had made a deal with the devil. Meanwhile, before these things happened, the other two pastors had left Ayo. Somehow, they had figured that Ayo was no longer the man they knew, and when they saw that they no longer served the same master, they were forced to leave. After Ayo had lost everything, including the house he lived in, he planned to go back to his father's house so he could confess everything to them and seek forgiveness from God. But Bisi and her coven were against that. To show Ayo that they could ruin his life completely, on the same day Ayo was supposed to return to his parents' house, he got involved in a ghastly motor accident, and out of all the passengers on the bus he boarded, he was the only one who didn't make it. Because of his greed for sudden wealth and his inability to open up to his spiritual tribe, Ayo gave room to the devil to manipulate him, and he ended his life and purpose faster than it had been predestined. The end. Did you enjoy this story? Tell us your favorite part in the comment section below. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Also, do not forget to follow our channel on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.